Hello, welcome to Astro Mondays with my good friend Rob Earth, and I am Sensei Christopher Oteki, the Sensei of Serious Joy. And we've been going live a little differently. We usually went live on the Human Garage Network, but something's gotten funky with that connection, and so now we're going live on Serious Joy and looping in the Human Garage. So I hope you all are remembering to bookmark our station here at Serious Joy TV. We have a lot of great stuff coming up in the future that you should know about anyway, so be good. Hi, good to see everyone. Hello, everyone. Waiting for my buddy, let's see here, to show up. Human Garage to show up. Yeah, here we go. How's everyone doing? Hi. Hey, Grasshopper. Appropriate for this show. Hope everyone had a nice weekend, but things are getting intense, man. We've got stuff going up. Hello. Wave. I am James Sporter. Cool. Hi, how are you? It's a gorgeous day here in Palm Springs, California, here at the Sensei Studios in Palm Springs, California. Can everyone hear me okay? There's Human Garage. They lost. Awesome. Here we go. And here we go. All right, let's see if he shows up here. Yay, hello. My friend Rob coming on board. Aha, here he is, Mr.
What's
Rob.
up? What's up, Chris?
How are you, buddy? Good to see you.
Yeah, guys, thanks for being here. Um, I guess we're going live now on Serious Joy TV for
Time
normally we're
in.
on the Human Garage channel, but we're here on Serious Joy TV. Human Garage is having some technical issues going live. But yeah, happy to be here for Astro Mondays with Chris. And I just heard you talking about things being intense. Definitely. I watched a baby come out of my wife 3 or 4
Congratulations.
days ago. Yeah,
Wow, what's the little tyke's birthday? What's step number is the guy or the little tyke? Was it a
on the
boy or girl?
25th, girl,
Girl. Okay, and what was the day?
September 25th.
Okay, so that was early Libra. We'll have to look that up and see exactly what step
Yeah,
number it is.
Libra.
For
Yeah,
sure, just like Daddy.
exactly. It definitely felt like a portal, though, like literally a portal into a new reality.
Yeah, I mean, did you hold the baby first? Like, because he's the mom's conked out. Or they give it to
Uh,
mama first?
I caught baby and then right to mom's chest. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, so you held baby first. Yeah. Well, usually the men does just because the women are conked out, man. It's not even like it's not a race, but you know, but it's hard on women, huh?
It's been an experience of new things that I've never imagined or witnessed before. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. It's the total, yeah, total.
I
And
like
like,
that background too, by the way. The mountains, the little bit of clouds in the sky for once. Yeah.
yes, we're working hard to set up this shoot like better. So yeah, to make it look prettier and make our background look prettier. Just bring some
You're
joy in
you're
because
outside or is there a window behind you?
I'm outside. It's
Yeah, it
nice
looks
out.
good.
Today's about maybe 75, 80, almost 80, somewhere on that, that mark. Yeah. So we got to set up correctly. So we'll see. I mean, we're finally past the point where it's so hot the phone turns off. So I'm going outside now. We're looking good for our audience. So it's good to see you, brother. And congratulations on the baby. We'll have
Thank
to run
you.
and see what her chart is for that and see. But obviously, I'll look at, maybe I'll do it live here real quick. I don't know if I have it real quick, but we'll just look at it. So tell me about your week real quick. I mean, like besides having a baby, I mean, what else was exciting? It's good.
Well, I mean, I don't know if this is relevant for everybody else, but yeah, guys, let us know how your week is and where you're tuning in from. That gives us some context of what everyone's going through. For me, it seems like I'm going through a specific scenario, but I'm sure it's relevant to everybody else. Or I should say, not relevant, but it matches frequency of a lot of other people. It's not just the baby. It's just like it feels like everything's really crammed in together for the last week,
Yeah.
meaning just like there's like I don't even understand how the days are coming by. It just feels like a million things going on every single day. And that's how my week's been going. Is like
Uh,
I wake up and I'm doing stuff all day long until I go to sleep, and it's just over and over and over again like that. Like I'm in a
yeah.
vortex.
Yeah, I understand that. Well, part of it is that we were in Virgo, and Virgo this year was really intense. We had eclipse at the last degree of Virgo, as we all know. And I talked about how that eclipse was, a doozy. And, Libra is such quiet, sensitive energy. Libra is like is the microphone. It's the part that pulls in and receives energy. So when you receive a kiss, when you receive a hug, when you receive someone being pissed, someone's anger, even receive a sound wave, when you receive light to your eyes, all of that receiving is interpreted by Libra. And so we all receive, and the thing is, we all receive according to our relationship to ourselves. So, if we are closed down to giving ourselves credit for something, then the world is closed down to giving us credit. Like the world reads how we receive ourselves, and they automatically, you draw around you people who treat you in, the same way. And so what's interesting is like, Libra is kind of like you can look at like sort of ancient Chinese kind of, or ancient Asian cultures, right? Where they would say, stone is the hardest, but wind works long enough, wind will cut stone, right? And that's kind of how Libra is. Aries is like the opposite of you. They're like the stone. They're, tough, rough, all this stuff. And that represents our personality, our ego, our defenses, our action, our strength, all that stuff, right? But what determines all that strength is how much credit you give yourself on the Libra side of you. Like if you open up to, trying something different, your ego will be flexible. If you open up to accepting your fear, your ego will be fearless. You have to open up and accept things about yourself for your ego to relax or actually get strong. Accept that this is your war, accept that this is your battle, whatever. So these first 11 steps of Libra, what we're actually doing is we are, accepting or rejecting parts of ourselves, first of all. Now, accepting means our heart's satisfied, our heart is happy with that. We have no resistance when our heart feels that. Like, I have a baby girl. Do I accept that? Yes. He's like, you just think there's no qualms with it. You feel amazing. But a lot of things we hear about ourselves or see about ourselves, we kind of weigh and measure this time. And we don't like it. We don't like it. I can't accept that anymore. I can't accept that for myself anymore. And so, the thing here is to accept with unconditional love. That's number one important. Because that's the one that's accepting is your heart. Your heart's the one going thumbs up, thumbs down. That's your heart. Now, your mind might be weighing in, but tell that smart ass he has no business to be in this business, this conversation. This is between the heart and this is between our acceptance, our ability to open up. And sometimes we have a hard time. Right now we're focused on our relationship to ourselves, and we will be here for a couple more days. Let me see here where we are today. Today we're at step 6. So we're Grandmaster step 6 today. And we woke up to Grandmaster step 6. So
What?
today is, that's
Sorry,
okay. I mean, that's why the weather's beautiful here. This is Grandmaster
it is
Venus.
amazing.
It's just, this is Grandmaster Venus. This is like the most beautiful time of the year. Venus and acceptance of Libra is beauty, because beauty is the ability to accept, and that, when you accept something, your wrinkles go away. Like when you're not like resisting, right? When you accept things, your body doesn't get inflamed. And when you accept things, you can kind of go back and forth until you find, the Goldilocks zone, the just right. And so Libra is responsible for beauty, because beauty is about being, acceptable on both sides, balanced on both sides. Harmony is beautiful. Harmony, music that is harmony, voice that has a harmony is beautiful, because everything is accepting everything. No one's like saying, get out of my way, like Aries or budget, or shut up, or kind of thing, right? So, in these first 11 degrees, you are, discovering and accepting, for one, like how you've changed. Like that's a big one. Like we've changed this year. You're a father, right? And a host of a TV show, another host, because Jerry's off doing amazing things. There's a lot to accept. There's a lot to be grateful for. And there's a lot to come to terms with. And so this is a time, too, where people come to terms with, in this particular year, you're going to come to terms with some major, major change. Like you accept that you're finally done with this, or you accept that you really are that. And that might be something you've been fighting with yourself over for like up down to 2012, for maybe 14 years, maybe 15 years. You've been having a hard time accepting this or accepting that in yourself. And sometimes accepting is forgiving, like not judging, not getting upset, accepting that something is over, accepting something's true. Like I can't deny it. I'm in love with her. I can't deny it. So there's also accepting that sort of thing. But mostly this is you accepting, your heart's. Hopefully you're accepting your heart's opinion over your mind. I mean, that's hopefully what you're accepting. And so today is step 6. Today's the day when we finally come to an acceptance and a peace with ourselves today. And although we may not know what to do with it, it's like, okay, I accept it. I'm addicted to gambling, or whatever, And so it's like you may accept that, and you'll find that accepting was one of the big hard things to do, right? Like to actually take it in and be honest with yourselves. To be honest with yourself. That's usually the hardest thing. Once you accept something, once your heart's like, yep, that's who I am, then you're really the most power to do something. So a lot of people, their ego will not accept them. The Aries part of them will not accept. They'll keep fighting on. They'll keep pushing. And, I will say this, and I'll hand it off to you for a question because I've gone for a minute here, is that, pretty much when you evolve and you rise to a higher vibration, The biggest thing you have to accept is that your ego will lose. Your ego will lose. There's only one way to ascend, and that's the ego has to lose. That means you have to accept the fact that so-and-so will never say sorry. You have to accept the fact that you will never be known for that grief you went through. You have to accept the fact that nobody will ever, say you were right when you knew you were the whole time. The things that ego was fighting for and holding out for was actually what was holding you back. That insistence
Right.
on that happening. And so when you really grow, your ego takes one right in the genitals. Pardon the French, but right, like you get one right there. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna have to accept the fact that I've officially lost as formula there. Everyone's gonna think on the team that I lost. Everyone's gonna think on the team that I was a loser. And you accept that because you realize there's a higher gratitude, there's a higher calling than these petty little reindeer games. So, I would say, in the next 4 days, and let's pass it over here, as the sun goes to step 9, when the sun gets to step 9, that's when the ego has to accept something and let it go. And so there's probably, given this year, everyone's going to probably have to, stand up and admit something to themselves, if nothing else.
That reflects what you said last week, which is a lot about trust and faith, which I definitely remembered going through this last week. What makes the day of a Grand Master? Just remind everybody.
Sure. So each step number is really like a channel of consciousness. And so we have 12 channels of consciousness, basically, and they rotate by degree. So the 0 degree, like the first degree, is Pluto. The first degree is Leo, and the second degree is Cancer. Third is Jupiter, all the way up to 6, which is Venus. So Libra is a Venus ruled sign, and so when you get to the Libra number in the Libra sign, you have a purebred sign there. That means they have no other signs interfering with their vibration. Is a 6 degree Libra has only Venus energy, very Venus, right? So step 7, for instance, has Neptune on top of Venus. So that's a Pisces influence, Libra, and 8 is a Saturn or Capricorn influence Libra, and 9 is an Aries influence Libra. So when you have a Libra that has no influence, right, it's just pure Venus, then you have a Grandmaster Libra, which means you have a person who is an expert in that decan. So the 6 degrees Libras are masters of the relationship to themselves. They get along with themselves. They're so happy with themselves. They have no problem in the world with them, right? The people who are 15-degree Libras, that's the middle way, the teenagers, those Libras are actually really artists, master relationships. Usually they're your really talented artists, diplomats. Like they have just got like handling people down to an art. It's not even a science, it's an art, right? And they tend to be really beautiful, and they tend to have all kinds of relationships because any Grandmaster Venus or Libra has been working so many lifetimes at relationships to get to that Grandmaster level that usually they have like 3 or 4 like really serious relationships before they find the one, because they're actually catching up to their like resume of people. And sometimes they have unfinished business and stuff like that. So I meet a lot of Grandmasters like, where's my partner? I'm like, you mean partners? Like you've got to go through a series of those, right? And then the 24s are the Grandmaster Libras, and they basically operate by, they always feel where they belong. They can feel where they belong on Earth, whereas the 15s they think where they belong. They think where their heart needs to be, and the 6s just are. The 24s are your masters that actually push the envelope of relationships. So these at 24, first gay marriage, probably 24. First triple, relationship, probably 24. Like 24s are like try out all the cool, like, polygamy probably now, and, polyamory is probably step 24 Libras, like trying all that stuff out, all the newest and greatest ideas of relationships and stuff. They're spearheading that, but they're also, you'll find a 24-degree Libra, like, being the one who speaks to Israel on the United States' behalf. You'll find our major diplomats are 24s a lot of times, not always 24 Libras, but 24 like Taurus or other 24s. Your 24s are always the people who can just walk through that fire and manage to not piss anybody off. They just know exactly how to say what to say or not say, and so they're just beautiful at the balance thing, And I'll just say this, if I may add, like I think Libras are about to. I mean, Libras have had. I've said this I think last week too. It's like Libras had a really bad run in the last 2,000, 3,000 years, because it was all about Aries dominance and aggression and fighting and all this kind of arrogance and ego. We went out of the age of Aries, and then we went to the age of Pisces, where Aries continued to control. Pisces didn't take control in the age of Pisces, and so Libras have just like been really they're whittled down to like a version of themselves that is not what God intended. Like they just sacrificed too much, they gave away too much, they lost themselves, and it's not because they're it's just because of the conditions of these times. So you all should know, like your life up until now does not represent who you are as a soul or your potential. Frankly, the world was not in a place to even appreciate you until now. So, don't take it personally. Libras take it personally, and they have to. That's part of the thing you have to do. Part of being a Libra now is like you've had to learn. You've gotten no support from the world when you've given all the support, right? Like, and so what does it force you? It's forced you to be stronger. It's forced you to be a little bit more Aries-like. It's forced you to say, "Fuck you." I've been good to all you people, and you bitches don't even care. Like, it's giving you guys a tailbone. It's giving you a bit more strength, and it was necessary. Because I think that the energies that Libra's going to be balancing next are going to be galactic. You know, the
All
ambassadors are going to be
Libra.
ambassadors to other aliens and things like that. So it's an interesting time. So that's Grandmaster.
Okay. All right. So that's all. The last part was for all Libras, right?
All Libras. If you're born a Libra, and you've been being a Libra, like if you're a Master Libra, you've been a Libra many times. So you can't just be a Libra once. You got to live like two. To be a Master, you got to live probably for maybe 6 lives. I mean, I don't even know. It might be the number. I don't know. But and so, anyways, any Libra in the last 2,000 years has just taken one for the team every lifetime.
And
And yeah.
and so we're in Libra season right now. We're just beginning it. What does that mean for everybody as a collective whole?
Well, for everybody, it means that right now you're looking at your relationship to yourself, and every sign looks at the relationship to themselves in a different place of their life. Everyone uses a different place to measure up. So we can do this real quickly if you want. Like Aries, they use relationships because they are Aries, so they're purebreds. So they use Libras for relationships. They use Libra energy to balance relationships. Tauruses use Libra for their health and daily life. So Tauruses try to live a balanced life. Try to. I've failed, but yes. Um, but then, Geminis, they use Libra for love. They fall in love with Libra. They have long-term relationships. They just, really just like they're in a child's Libra. They're always about fair. A little Gemini child is always gonna be fair to others. Beautiful, like children they have inside of them. They're artists, Libras. Geminis, this is where their artistry comes from. And then Cancers, ironically, use Libra for their emotions. I have to say, they have not done a good job. Again, the whole Libra consciousness has been probably its weakest since the age of Aries. You guys are just getting your feet back, really. Scales of justice, all this stuff. One of the reasons why the world is so goddamn unjust is because the people who look at that stuff have not been empowered. The people who cry wolf, the whistleblowers, the ones who, don't take advantage. There's only one Libra president I've ever seen, and it's Jimmy Carter. That's it. One Libra president
One.
for my last. I looked at the list again. I'm pretty sure there's only one in the history of America. So it's like only one fair guy was ever president. And the poor guy got so much shit. And then he after being president, he went around and built houses for free. Like what a Libra. You know what I mean? Like, geez, love that guy. Or did. You did a good job, Mr. President. But so Libras, and so that case, Libras are coming back. Like part of the age of Aquarius is, it's an air sign like Libra. Oh, I have to go around the clock and finish. So Cancers use Libra for balance. Leos use Libra for their mind. This is why Leos are such good, the king or queen is such a fair judge on the throne. They're going back and forth in their mind with the Libra, right? Trying to figure out what is the most fair, what is the right. Leo doesn't want to be, seen as too wimpy or also too mean, like at the same time. So they're constantly going back. And also that's why Leos, are very indecisive about what they want, by the way. If you're always wondering, like, why can't a Leo, why do they want everything? It's just that they really can't make up their mind. They're back and forth about it. Virgos use Libra for their self-worth. And that's why Virgos are back and forth, back and forth. I'm worthy, I'm not. I'm worthy, I'm not. They tend to, that scale goes way incredible with Virgo. One day they're like worthless, the next day they're telling you you're a piece of shit, right? So that's the scales just, going to dramatic tipping. Libras obviously use their Libra energy for their ego. So their ego is fair. Their ego's back and forth. They start and they stop. They're passive aggressive. It's like they're trying to, like, at the end of the day, like, not make waves. But and we'll come back to that idea, not making waves. The Scorpios use Libra to judge themselves from God. So Scorpios constantly like playing judge and jury with God all the time, which is why Scorpios have such a moral backbone. It's because they're constantly weighing back and forth whether they're going to go to hell or God to be happy with them. So they're always in this relationship balance with God and spirit. That's why Scorpios also have like huge, injustices to death. People go, oh, Scorpio just hates when someone's been murdered. Well, that's because the afterlife is all Libra. They're all back and forth about should it happen or not, should it happen. Will I get justice for them? Why not get justice for them? Scorpios have this like multi-lifetime, like, anger that justice wasn't served, and then they get mad at God, and then that kind of thing. So their whole Libra thing is with God. Sagittarius' whole Libra thing is actually in the public. So Sagittarius actually act like Libras in the public. They're the ones that act most like a Libra, which means they're fair, they're balanced, they're approachable, they're easy to get along with. They kind of like they judge a book right from what they see, not from what they prejudice. They're always trying to do, they're always on the side of justice. Sagittarius is. They're always on the side of the weak, the one underserved, the one underrepresented. So that's one thing about Sag I love. Then Capricorns use Libra for what? Their career. Now you might go, what? Since when has the Capricorn been fair in their career? Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, the capacity to be incredibly unfair, is there when you have fairness as the ruler. So if you have Libra in that part of your life, you have the capacity to be extremely unfair or extremely fair. And so Capricorns are the ones who have been overbearing when it comes to business. They monopolists, like taking over the whole market, like a Rockefeller kind of attitude, because the Libra is their house of career and their decision making. This is part of the reason why Capricorns are so good though at making decisions, because they do go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So they find just the right Goldilocks deal or just the right price. So that they're good negotiators, back and forth, back and forth. So you can see them using the Libra consciousness for their future. But they've also been passive aggressive, kind of sneaky, and out of balance. So that's because they're already a powerful sign, and then one of their most powerful things, which is career, uses Libra. So they've been very, a lot of Capricorns have had like success, bankruptcy, and that's the Libra going back and forth. They're trying to get a hold of it. Then we have Aquariuses use Libra for their belief structure, and that's why an Aqua is like really only fair to the idea of truth. If an Aqua will not be afraid to be, in front of Einstein and call him wrong. They'll call it out. Like it's like, oh, this is an injustice to truth. And they'll call you out on it. So plus they have Aries in their mind, so they'll be aggressive about it and over the top. And then we're at Capricorn, Aquarius. Pisces finally, they have Libra when it comes to their boundaries, and that's true too, because it ain't very hard to sleep with the Pisces. Like their policy of like, no, I don't sleep with I never with a blonde. Oh, come on in. Like they will flip on, that door will flip. And they're back and forth, and Pisces will be like, oh, stay away. Oh, I want to be really close. I want to be hugging you. And then, oh, no, I'm, cold fish. You don't hear from the Pisces for like 2 weeks. And then like, boom, they're knocking on your door, wanting to hook up. So, Pisces are use the Libra conscious for drawing boundaries. And this is why they can be alcoholics. A lot of times that's a joke, because their boundaries are so squishy. Their boundaries go back and forth. They're not, they're always based on the situation, not based on principle and based on, law and etiquette and things like that. It is now. So long story short, we have had, we've been working on Libra for a long time because prior to this, we had the nodes in Libra before they moved into Virgo and Pisces. And so, Libras were, told to let go of this old ego stuff that you guys have and embrace a new ego. And for Libras, this is, and Aries is the most powerful thing that you've been told to do, because you're literally being told to upgrade the most barbaric part of us, right? And believe it or not, Libras have been barbaric. They have Gandhi was a Libra. So it's like, I love Gandhi, but like he was laying on railroad tracks. Jesus Christ, to stop the trade. That's barbaric. That's a bit intense, right? So like, and I'm not, I wouldn't do it now. I praise him for what he did. He's one of my heroes. But at the same time, I wouldn't lay across the railroad track and threaten the British to roll over you. So it's like, Libras have been, extremely passive and passive aggressive, and their egos have a lot of times their egos will play these games where they're there for you because they really want you there for them, but they're not saying that in the deal, in the handshake. They're saying they're all there for you. So there's been a lot of backwards politics and stuff with their egos, and I don't blame them. It's something what they're good at. But in this particular year, now that we have all of our karma stripped away, or at least identified, right? And for Libras, this karma has to do with your the way you can. Let's say I'm saying again backwards. So Libra, Aries, yeah. So for you, the way Libras connect to the moment, to reality, is Pisces, right? You live a karmic life in the moment, and you've cleaned up your lifestyle, you've cleaned all that up, and so now you're really working on your relationships and taking it to the next level. And see, that's the other place that you had been really messed up, was Libras had, they've actually had, because they're so open to everyone, they're actually pretty close to the people they marry, like their way or the highway. And the reason they're that way is because they give it all away in daily life, So it's like when they come back to the spouse, they come back to their business partners, they've been very inflexible. They've been very, arrogant. They've been controlling in those situations. And I don't blame them, but that's the part of them that's really changing now. So because of Chiron in Aries, and right now it's Sep 25, Sep 26, it's in the high degrees of Libra. Libras are now healing the highest part of relationships right now. Okay? That means like marriage, partnership, the whole 9 yards. I think the reason why we have shame around being gay or shame around, being two genders, being a them or they, or shame or, shame around these new kind of frontiers is because the Libras are still judging it. Because Libras rule relationships. So if every Libra on Earth said it was okay, then the whole Earth would gravitate towards that. Because we rely on you to keep the Libra energy alive. Just like you rely on us Tauruses to keep the Earth alive, okay? Without us Tauruses, pooping all the time and refertilizing everything, y'all would have no vegetation. And if we didn't have Libras, improving their own relationships in their own life, human relationships would not improve. Every sign actually keeps that consciousness alive and progressive. So it means that we're on the tippy-toe edge of really changing the way we relate to people in the world, because Libras are about ready to launch a whole new relationship approach. And I think the approach is, and you tell me what the thing changes, the approach is, I don't need to help you, I want to. I think that's the new Libra approach. You don't need to help me, you want to. Whereas before, a Libra needed to be needed.
Yeah, for me, the energy that's been coming for me is more about collective gain. So it just in specifics to helping, it's recognizing that you're not really helping anyone, and if a situation is happening where it seems like you're helping someone, you're really helping each other. Like it just seems like there's a vortex effect happening where it's not really one-sided. A lot of things in life isn't really as one-sided as we're that just like superficially looks like it's one-sided, but it's really a vortex, or you're meeting perfectly for each other. It's like always like for each other.
Yes, that's interesting. So I didn't quite hear like where the arc of change was. I don't disagree with that. I agree.
The
Um,
arc of change was because I've been a teacher and a coach my entire life, right? So
yeah.
it's very superficially apparent and obvious that if I'm teaching you something, that you're benefiting from me. And I am seeing that that's not the case, and that there's a mutually beneficial thing happening for both parties
Yes.
regarding anything, parent, child, like person on the street,
Yes.
random, like everyone's coming with equal benefit to each other.
Even the abused person, you're benefiting from your abuser. You don't
Right.
see it now because of the pain and everything else. But
Addicted to those
yes,
hormones too.
yeah, because ultimately, remember, like the universe was just God, and then God wanted to know what he was like to be him. He wanted to see on the outside of him. So she created, a version that looks back at him. And at that point, they had Libra. At that point, the one became the two. It's always the two. It's always one of two, halfway between two. We're in a duality. So the Libra relationship is inherent in everything we do. There's some noise here. Just hang in there, guys.
We're good. The phone's picking up your voice pretty well.
Say again?
I said I said we can hear you. The phone is picking up your voice
Oh,
through the
good, 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 good,
noise.
good. Because I've got like planes, helicopters. So, um, so yes, it is. It is. It's all relative. Everything is relative. In fact, if it wasn't relative, you couldn't isolate yourself, right? You don't know who you are until you're in relation to something else. You have to have something else to be have a. That's why God had to create a version of himself, because he needed another version of himself to relate to who he was. He could not, you can't separate without separating. So we need that
Hmm.
relationship, and relationships are for that purpose of mirroring us. I mean, it's the mirror. Whether that mirror is an anti-mirror or the same kind of mirror or a similarities mirror, or multidimensional mirror. Past lives are multidimensional mirrors. I don't know if I said this last week's show, but a lot of times, like if you have a parent that's always yelling at you, That's usually a reflection of you and your mind in the last life. So a lot of times our parents play our mental to us. We don't even realize it. It's our mind. They just play the role of our mind, or they play the role of the Catholic Church, or they play the role of something that we were facing before. Now we're relating to it much closer to home, and we're
Wait a
looking at it
minute.
much closer to home. Right.
You're just because everyone here has parents, so I just want to make sure we're all clear on this because it's relevant to everyone. When you say in your mind, what do you mean by that? Like, is it actually real? Like, clarify what you mean by in your mind. You're playing what's in your
Okay.
mind.
All right.
Past
So
lives.
that's what astrology says. Astrology says you have 12 states of independent of awareness, right? You're aware of your heart, you're aware of your body, you're aware of your mind, right? Your mind is a single state of awareness. Gemini is that state of awareness, right? So let's say that in this life, in your mind, all you're doing all the time is seeing the bad side, seeing how the world hates you, seeing how stupid you are. Your mind is always being that personality, always being a sad sack, saying the shitty thing, that sort of thing. And the whole lifetime, you're just depressed and your mind is just really dark. In the next life, quite often, your parent, like your male parent, let's say, is going to be a parrot of those thoughts. Those thoughts become a whole human, okay? Or that human plays the role of that mind. And so you see for yourself how ugly it is when your father talks to you that way. You're seeing what you were like to yourself. You have to put it outside of yourself to relate to it in a different way. And when you see, you're like, this is unacceptable. The way he talks to me is unacceptable. Good, says God. We've been trying to get you to see this, right? And then quite often what happens is, that negative parent, well, the soul's actually not healed from it. They still have that crappy mind. It's just for a while their parents stole the thunder. So once their parents are gone, their mind kicks back up again. They're back to the old self, and they're like, well, it's because of my father I was this way. No, your father was because you were this way before. You've always
That's
been this way.
yeah. And that's explainable too, like when you look at it from a psychological standpoint, because obviously you're going to be rerunning the programming that your parents instilled into you. So no matter which way you look at it, where you put the source of origin, it all matches. It matches
Yes,
scientifically and psychologically also.
that's correct. And, I guess this is a good conversation we're having because at the end of the day, people, you blame yourself for stuff. First of all, the stuff you're blaming for yourself for, you don't have power over really. That was when you fucked up the last life of this stuff. It's the last life. What you are, at least up to age like 35, almost 40, is your last life. And so let it go. Like, you got away with it. Thank God. You've reincarnated. You got away from whatever it was. Give yourself a second chance. Don't judge yourself because this is your second chance. This is your third chance. Like, and don't forget, it's like, Libra is response. Aries is initiation. Initiate Aries, Libra respond. The way you respond to yourself is far more powerful than the way you initiate. It's so much more powerful. It's in the response that everything changes in yourself. It's not in the initiation. So I'm going to start a diet. Okay. And tomorrow you wake up, your body's sore from the workout. How do you respond? It's the second day that you let yourself down, not the first, right? So our response is the most important thing we have in our control of who we are, which is why Libra is the most powerful sign there is. But you have been confused too. You've been focusing on the illusion and not on the source of yourself.
Okay, that's amazing. You mentioned today being 6th degree, right? Can we
Being,
just
being,
roll on through the week?
oh, sure. Yeah. I'm sorry. There's some noise in the front. I was trying to. Yeah, I thought you said I was 60. I'm like, thank you, buddy. You're 62. That's what I say. Like a lot of people, like I see some charts with a lot of sixes in there. I'll tell you, them sixes though. If you see a lot of sixes in your chart, bow, chicka, bow. Like you are fun. Okay, let's say it that way. So you can look at your chart right now and see how many sixes you have. Because the more sixes you have, the more 60 you are. Okay, just telling you.
60.
Yeah, you're very 60. So today is six, step six. So it's a Grandmaster Day. So people are gonna find that whatever you've been worried about, whatever you think was whatever you're judging yourself about. Remember, six is the Libra is the judge. They say it's the scales, but it's not the scales. It's the judgment of the scales. It's the judgment of what is fair is not fair. It's the ability to weigh two sides. That's what Libra conscious is. Libra is a conscious that can basically compare and contrast and weigh two sides, right? And so, weigh yourself on the scale, weigh yourself on the scales of justice, all this weighing, right? And so again, you can weigh yourself and see that you're overweight. That's okay, but it's what you respond to that news is that makes the difference. So if you want to lose the weight, you respond to yourself with like, "Good job," you know, you remind us why we're fat. Good job, like whatever they're. You remind us whatever. If you've not lost weight, you're like, "Good job." Everything is like, if it's positive, it's good. So after 6, today you weigh and your heart realizes what would be a more fair way to approach yourself. You're not being fair to yourself. No one's being fair to themselves. They're either like applying like punishment for themselves or punishment for others, or they're trying to prove the world they're right, and so they're not being fair to themselves. Everyone's unfair to themselves somewhere. Everyone, especially people who are real go-getters. The more you go get, the more you have to take flesh from yourself, right? So, or not accept whatever. So, what happens is like we kind of go into a spiritual mode after 6. So tomorrow this time it'll go to step 7. Was that right? No, it goes to 7. It goes to 7 later today. Sorry, it goes to 7. I think around 3 p.m. Eastern, right? 4 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Eastern. It's going to go to 7. At that point, 7 is heaven. So spiritual energy comes in. And right now, for instance, you could be really stubborn and you could be like calling yourself guilty and wanting to punish yourself and, like really responding poorly, responding judgmental, responding unfair to yourself. You might be being really unfair to yourself, which, by the way, just brings unfair people to you. So if you want to know why people are unfair to you, because you've been unfair to yourself. That's it. That's the only reason. So don't complain because you're a monster to yourself on the inside. That's why you're getting it, So 7 is where we kind of forgive. 7 is where you go, fuck it. God doesn't care. I'm not going to. Like you kind of just forgiveness, compassion, letting it go. Mercy is 7. So the judge may go, you are guilty and you deserve a sentence of 20 years. But then he goes to step 7. You go, but I'm going to give you a deal here. I'm going to take all this away and not judge you for this. I'm going to be compassionate and just let you get away with this much. You pay this. So 7 is when you pardon yourself. Pardon yourself. It's okay. You're the judge and jury. Pardon yourself. Why do you have to punish? Besides, has punishment ever done any good for anyone? Didn't teach me. I still did it. My lesson was don't get caught. It was never not do. It was always my heart still wanted to do it. You know what I mean? Like, so you let yourself off the hook. That's what 7 is. Forgiveness, forgiving yourself, letting your soul weigh in, on that judgment, not just putting it in the mind, step 5, but leading to 7, the higher self, or the intuitive part of the mind, you could say. Let the intuitive part of the mind judge. Don't let the mind judge. And so tonight through tomorrow, there's a lot of like spiritually, letting things go, forgiving ourselves for the mistakes we made, forgiving ourselves for being stupid, all that stuff, right? And I said with your signs. So for me, I've been stupid with my health. I put my health second. I've been unfair to myself, and I'm not going to feel guilty. I'm not going to let myself feel bad about it anymore. I used to. Then I'd have asthma and feel even worse, right? A lot of human garage people are too hard on yourself with your body. That's why you're in pain. You've been too hard on yourself, and you haven't been compassionate. So that's one of the reasons. It's not always just, the chemicals. It's other things, the way we treat ourselves. So after 7, the following day, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, is step 8, I decide. So that's really when the judge puts in the order. I decide, the ruling is not guilty. Okay? And this is a big one. I'll tell you, the next 2 days may be the most important in your life because God doesn't care at all what you do.
No judgment.
Does not. It's a tickle out of all of it. It's a tickle out of when you're a serial killer. It's a tickle out of when you're. It's all his imagination. He doesn't care.
It's all God.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah, it's. Why would God be mad at him for creating that cool thing? So, people are gonna really decide in the 2 days, guilty or not guilty. And this I'm talking about for the last 2,000 years, guilty or no guilty. That's how big of a judgment this is. You keep yourself on trial, and you will be on trial. Now, let me tell you, if you are obsessing with politics, and you're mad, and you're angry at other people out there, that's how you feel about yourself. You hate yourself as much as you hate that president. You hate yourself as much as you hate that other party. You do. You can't be to someone what you aren't to yourself. You end up putting on others. So they're reminding of parts of you that you judge. You hate that. You see that in you. You're embarrassed because one lifetime you were like that, and you're embarrassed. That's why you hate that person. We only hate people that remind us of us. Okay. And I do. If I see people who act like me and I'm embarrassed, I'm like, oh God, oh God. You know, I can't see it. It's a train wreck. I can't see it. So you have to decide, do you want to keep waiting for the world to do, to take you off that judgment? Waiting for that politician to perform correctly, waiting for that, that person to do what you want them to do? Or are you just going to decide that you're not going to be so unfair to yourself as to wait for something like that? It's very unfair. If I said to my kid, you can't go outside and play until we have a good president, my kid's never going to play. You know what I'm saying? Never going to play. And so that is the ultimate. Step 8 is but boom, that's and that's the decision. By the way, you have to undecide. Okay, so when you were 4, you decided you couldn't love. When you were 5, you decided that you'd never find a good man. When you were 6, you decided the world's out to get you. People made a lot of decisions that are bad decisions for themselves in their marriage. And so I think on step 8 is about undeciding all that. If you want to be really pure, just say, I take away every decision. I want every decision out of the garage, and I'll slowly put every decision back in for the next 6 months. But I'm undeciding everything. And I've been doing that to a lot of people too. They've been like, so you're going to do this? I'm like, I don't know. I'm undecided. I'm going to stay undecided because a decision is an incision in consciousness. You stick to it, If you decide as a pure, as a pagan, that you're going to be married to someone for the rest of eternity, oh shit, you will. Okay, you every lifetime there'll be this obligation, and you're going to get mad because you're going to realize there's a billion women here you could have dated, and you pick one for 20 lives. You know what I mean? And that's not a bad thing. I mean, love is great, but we all come back to heaven. So the point is, a lot of the commitments to ourselves, we're not making for ourselves. We're making them to please others, like a Libra does. And it's it has to please you the most. Because if it doesn't please you the most, you won't please your partner. You won't please your partner. You can't please your partner when you're not happy. You just can't. So 8's a huge day. That's Wednesday to Thursday. Huge, really huge in the sense of, and use your feelings to decide. If you don't feel good about it, you're not good about it. All right? So if you feel bad about any part of it, you're wrong. You're not in the right space. What you look for is the path of least resistance. When you choose this way or that way, you feel this, you just feel like everything's going to be okay.
For
So
decisions.
So if I decide I'm going to let myself off the hook for all the times I fucked up. I decided I'm going to do that. How do I feel? Great. So it's then that's the right answer. The right answer is only towards what is great, was calm. And then what happens is on step 9, which is Thursday, Friday, that's when the ego kicks in, which is Aries. And so we flip to the opposite side of Libra. And that's a master degree. So 9 is a master because it has the opposite sign incorporated into it. 6 is a grandmaster because it's all pure one sign. Okay. So we reach the master of the sign. That's the Libra who can talk and do, right? Those 9 Libras. Very 60, those 9 Libras. Very 60, those 9s. Those 60s are 9s. But anyways, they are, and so what happens is now you must take action toward what it is you have just. So if you decided that you're not going to be mad at yourself anymore, you may not be mad at yourself anymore. You must act on it. You're not anything of any interest or cool if you can't follow through with what you decide, right? And if you can't follow through, maybe you made the wrong decision. I'm not saying push yourself into any uncomfort zone, but I am saying that if you decide you want yourself off the hook, that means that every time you think of that bad thing on Friday, you got to unthink it. You got to no, not allowed anymore, no.
Yeah.
And change your behavior. So, that's the real test. You have to be pardoned by the judge and completely accepting who you really are, the good, the bad, and the ugly at 6. And then at 9, you got to actually act like you mean it. And if you do that, you're going to feel incredible probably by Sunday. Saturday will be oh, what have I done? Okay. Sunday's oh, what have I done? It's buyer's remorse on Saturday because you're halfway between the two yous, the versions of you. And so you're leaving your old marriage and you're moving to a new marriage. And your old marriage partner's like, come on, what'd I do? Come back. I love you. So there's that cry back. And it's I'll tell you right now, everyone, if some people are actually facing relationship issues right now, and really you should not be, okay? You should not, because you haven't dealt with yourself yet. And so you shouldn't be dealing with another person. But a lot of amateurs will deal with relationship stuff right here, right in this first 10 days. And so what happens is they do break up on the 9, and then they do come crawling back on the 10, and then they get stuck in the relationship for another 10 years because they on the 10 they weren't strong enough. And you weren't strong enough because you dealt with the relationship way too soon. Should
You
have dealt with
didn't
you first.
before dealing with yourself, right?
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, some people, this is the weekend where after 2 weeks of getting her through this and getting her through that, but she goes back to him. Oh my God. It's like it's one of those weekends. So it's just like, oh. But you have to be tested. The only way you can get rid of it is for it to come back as an offer and you turn it down. You're not graduate till it comes back and you turn it down. Just so you know,
Cool.
that's the way it works. So that's
I'm
the week
hearing,
basically. We're shedding
yeah,
our skin. We're coming into a new version of our mirage.
right. Okay. I was going to wrap it up, but that's good. Yeah. Shedding skin, coming into a new version of our mirror
Mirage.
image. Yeah.
Mirage. Yeah. So it's the mirage instead of the marriage. Yeah. Mare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
saying mirror. I was combining mirror with marriage.
That's not bad.
Mirrorage.
I should spell it that way. Mirage. Yeah, I should spell it that way. That's good. Thanks, buddy. Just in time for the book. I'll do it.
Cool.
I think as a
Cool.
result, you're going to see now on a global level, as soon as people are fair to themselves, guess what? Politics turn upside down. Okay, this is what people like. Keep saying things will be shit's gonna hit the fan, but wait, it's been kind of like just tension. As soon as you have judged yourself on step 8, okay, so the people who are judging, judging the opposite political party, who then say to themselves, "I'm not going to judge myself anymore." Guess what? You're not going to judge the party either. As
Right.
soon as you stop with yourself, you stop on the other side, which means people have surprising major tips of the scale. Like, what? Where people are like, yeah, I don't care anymore. What? You know?
Yeah. The
So there's
game
a,
ceases to exist at that point. Like there's no more competition. It's more of a marriage and vortex of ideas and experiences.
totally. And seeing your expression mirrored in so many different things. Mostly what you've seen expressed, in life has been what you put most attention on, which are all things you don't like. So because
Yeah.
we put all our attention on what we don't like, we've only seen what we don't like. So suddenly people are like set for bliss, you know? And Libra is bliss, man. Talk about calm, man. Just good, calm energy. Whenever
I
I'm around
mean,
Libra, I feel so chill.
yeah, the advertising tactics, the getting attention up until this point has been completely focused on that human characteristic of focusing on fear to keep yourself safe. And if as a collective society we all are unresponsive to that, it's unfazed, like you said, everything will change. Everything. Our entertainment will change, our politics will change, the way we deal with other countries will change, each other.
Yes. And here's the thing justice will actually prevail. The reason why justice hasn't prevailed is because people have been unjust to themselves, right? So, the atrocities going on, which I won't even name by name, but there are people dying every day, and that's not cool. It's not cool to screw up someone's life. It's not cool. And if you have to kill somebody, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. You're an idiot. And that's what we have to start treating people like idiots who are idiots. So it's like, hey, everyone knows, you're not supposed to do it. So what's going to happen is justice is going to start to prevail. As people are just to themselves, they will no longer turn the other way. They will not, because they're not afraid anymore. Why were they afraid? Because people are going to call them out and say, you're the same fucking way. And they'll be like, I know I was. That's why I'm here in your face, motherfucker, because I have learned the way. So suddenly people get really strong where they were not before, because they're no longer finding themselves. They're taking away the one thing that kept them back, them. And so as soon as you stop fighting yourself, you're unstoppable because you were the one stopping you.
Right. You're grounded in yourself, so you no longer need to spend energy being angry at somebody else for not seeing who you are. Like all this wasted energy gets diffused when you become stable and harmonized with self.
Yes, 100%. And I've said that, I call, the SEP system is here to unite your states of awareness, to become the United States of awareness inside of you. And when you become the United States of awareness, the United States will become aware. Like the United States themselves, we are fraction because we're fraction on the inside. And so we no longer have a war inside of us. We don't see war outside of us. And so you're going to see a rapid shift in the narratives because just what seems to be incredible things start happening because people here and there finally give up the war on themselves. And so as a result, the general can't get the soldiers to go out there and kill anymore. Like they just I can't. Sorry, I'll risk going to jail. Fine, put me in the brig. You're going to find that people just put down stuff. You'll find other people who are desperate because they're losing horribly and they see the world tipping in the scale towards what they don't want, which is peace. And so they'll get crazy and go to extremes because now they're going to lose everything.
Which has been happening and getting intenser for,
Yes,
yeah.
it is. Yeah, it is getting intense. I don't feel, I don't know. I feel what's happening is that, from a global perspective, the world's going to flip their opinion real quick here on something. I'm real curious what it's going to be. It could be something with the attorney general that was just, what's his name? That was just, put into, who's been arrested. I can't remember his name now. I'm not super into politics, but, Mark Comey, right? He was, he's under arrest now. So like, wow, okay. That's heavy. That's like, wow, wow, right? Like that's big, right? So if you start seeing stuff like that, you're going to see huge shifts in policy. This is why people have said, Comey, thank you very much, dear. People have said, oh, I've had people say to me, the Supreme Court is conservative. That means all these things are going to go away. I'm like, no. Courts flip all the time. They're not a constant, man. Look through all of American history. It never stays the same. As soon as it gets too conservative, then it gets too liberal, then it gets too conservative. Like,
Yeah.
we're always that way. I mean, especially the United States. So it's like, no. It's just your turn up to bat, and then it's gonna be their turn up to bat, and then but like what happens is like now that people are more fair to themselves, judges, everyone feel this pressure to be fair. So fairness puts a pressure on other fairness, right? And we start seeing people be fair, like oh sure, let me have you. You can go first, like. You just start suddenly realizing, well, how fair am I? You start judging yourself on your own fairness. So it starts to spread like a virus, a Venus virus, where everyone's just wanting peace, love, and all that stuff. So I do feel like we're going to have this huge conflict where things are horrible, mostly for the people who are unfair to themselves, and so they're manifesting an unfair end. But then I think there's also going to be this love. I think there's going to be a huge like bounce, chicka, bow, wow, like kind of a romantic renaissance, where I think you're going to find a lot of people falling in love. A lot of people just like in Gaga Google land because they finally gave up the fight with themselves and now they can truly love someone else. A lot of people don't have true love because you don't love yourself. So why is anyone going to love you if you don't love yourself? Why? Right? And so, a lot of, and I will say this, women, I'm sorry, women, I'm not sexist, but because you were repressed for so long, you started to count on that oppressor to give you your credit. It's just what happened. It happens anytime you oppress somebody. You oppress them too long, eventually they're always needing the slave owner to tell them they're good. It's like needing a reparation. Like, please, you gotta tell me I'm good. No, you tell you're good. The idea that someone else tells you you're good is it's slavery. Don't let someone else define you. Don't. You define you, and make people accept it. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like we have to. There's a lot of us that keeps waiting to be saved, or to prove, or to prove to ourselves by something outside of ourselves, and that will never happen. Never. Like I said, when you ascend, your ego will lose. When you ascend, your ego will lose.
That's what I was just going to bring up, is that you said at the beginning of the show, and it's a perfect example of that. You got to let go of what your ego is grasping for.
Yeah, so it's like, if you want to hold out for that, I'm sorry, you may spend your whole life waiting. And it's like, why? Because when they say it, it's not going to feel better. It won't be enough.
Right.
It will not be enough. And the reason why it's not enough is because that's not what heals you. What's making you sick is that you are being mean to yourself until you get justice from them. You're holding yourself prisoner until you get the behavior you want out of them, which, by the way, is controlling and dark. So if someone was mean to you, and they hurt you, and you're not going to sit still until you hurt them back or you see them hurt, you've just been as mean and dark as them. But to yourself, you've gotten hurt twice now. One from the perpetrator, then you yourself do it to yourself, waiting for justice, right? So it's like we got to just end the madness and see how this actually how it happens, you know. I mean, it's going to be turmoil. I feel real quickly, and you know, our spirit, we meet Monday mornings, and we're already up now to like the first week of Scorpio, about a month ahead, and it feels like the world is really heavy, not dark, heavy. Like it just feels like, I don't know. It feels like we've been punched in the stomach. Because when we do the charts, we go space time, we go future. Like we're all psychic, and so we see the formulas, and then we just kind of feel in, and we're like, you know, like what is this? You know, and what it is just, I think the god awful truth is what I think. I think there's a lot of things that people don't realize just how horrible some things have been, and there's been like la 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 la, and so unfortunately, for you to accept what is, you gotta see what it is. And so you have these levels. Like right now, we're accepting what is with ourselves. Then we're going to accept what our life has become. Then we're going to accept what the world has become. And that's when it's going to be painful. So we see what the world's become.
Right. Yeah. I think that we should end that show or this show on that note where we can really look into what our ego has been grasping onto and what we can let go of that grasp and open up to what's to come for us. And guys, if you're here from Human Garage and you're watching this on recording, definitely give a follow to Chris on Christopher Witecki, and then the Serious Joy TV channel is going to be up in the link, so follow them. As Chris just said, there's a team of him and several other people that are working really hard, giving us the forecast of what's to come energetically.
Yes, and coaching and everything else. And I have a lecture coming up. You can go to senseiChristopher.com and get on the wait list, or you can go to the New World Order, and that's spelled KNEW. So I have a lecture coming up right around Halloween about the New World Order, and from what I can gather, it's like I'm talking about like the way the world will end up, and I call it KNEW because we knew all along that's the way it would be.
NewWorldOrder.com? Where's that at?
Actually, newworldorder.xyz. Newworldorder.xyz. So, or the New World Order, but newworldorder.xyz. Just go on the wait list. I mean, just give me your email address, and I'll send you a thingy. I think people are going to be really compelled by it, and I feel like I have to do this. So it's on my personal brand. It's not going to be dark, but it's going to be eye-opening, you know. And that I'm going to show you in your chart how to determine, like, so there's one that's a lecture, and the other part's going to be a workshop. So you don't have to do both. You can do one or the other. And if it's a workshop, we're going to get your charts out. And I'm going to show you where your New World Order is inside of you. Because everyone has a New World Order inside of them, too. Something they've been dreaming about their whole life. And you might need a reminder of what that is. So, you know, come sign up and see if it's good for you.
KNEW, guys. New World Order.
I knew all along. NewWorldOrder.xyz. XYZ because those are the three generations that are going to do this. The Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z.
Let's do it.
All right.
Hey, Chris.
Buddy. Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, as you know, my gift is always a free reading to a baby. So in 25 years, just let her know. I'll give it to her. No, I'm kidding. I'll do it for you guys. I'm just kidding. No, we'll give you, like, when you're ready, or whenever you're ready, you know, I'd be happy to sit down with you and the lady, the missus, and talk about this soul.
Okay, amazing. Can't wait for that. Yeah, and can other people get readings from you? How does that work for people?
Yes, you just come to senseiChristopher.com. There is a wait list for my readings. And you may go, wait list? Well, no, actually I have cancellations all the time. I send out emails like, hey, we got one open up this Friday. So people kind of win the lottery all the time and slip right in there and get a reading with me. It seems all to be destined to. So if you have a reading, come to senseiChristopher.com, get on my reading wait list, get on the New World Order wait list. And we got a lot of cool stuff coming up, including a special social network for people who are enlightened. So cool stuff coming around the corner.
All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thanks for your comments.
Thank you. Take care, brother. Say hi to her. Say hi to little niece for me.
Will do.
Bye, guys.